What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. Walther White testing continued, or part 2, whatever you want to call it. We're back, and due to the power of Carbon Killer, pretty awesome stuff, a little bit of elbow grease, we got this white masterpiece of a malfunction back to its original, almost working order. Minus a few little paint chips here and there, this thing is cleaned up, oiled up, ready to go again. We're going to continue testing. Now, for those of you that need caught up really quick, if you didn't see the first video, which I recommend everybody checks out the first video, we had problems. We were doing the overview unboxing first shots. We started out with some of this arms core ammunition, and it did not like it whatsoever. What we ended up here with is a total out of battery explosion. I'm trying to let it ride just a little bit. Great. You guys just saw it. I don't know. That's great. So the brand new Walther WMP just had itself some form of kaboom. So we were on the first ammunition, the arms core, and this cartridge right here, instead of propelling the bullet out like a good pew would, just like that, it decided to go ahead and exploder itself, and it ended up like this. There is the back of the cartridge. Here's the middle part of the cartridge, or the rest of the cartridge, and there's the projectile that didn't make it out of the barrel. That was a squib load that obstructed the barrel about 5/6 of the way down it. We had to pound it out. It was not that easy to get out. So that was a total miserable fail to begin with. And now this is not on the disapproved ammunition list. A few people told me right off the bat, oh, that ammo is not good for that gun. They say it. Walther will tell you not to use that ammo. No, it's not on that list. So we're going to continue testing today with approved ammunitions and some unapproved also, just to see what the results are, because that's what we do here on the Turkey's Opinion. We test things, sometimes to their limits. But let's talk about ammunition selection real quick. I have the manual in front of me. Now, there's always arguments in the comment section about this and that, but I do have it right in front of me. I'm not saying there's not more than one version of this manual, but for now, this is the one that I have that's shipped with this gun. So I really don't care if there's other versions out there. It'd be nice. It would be nice if there was an updated version of this that included the proper ammo selection, but mine does not have that. If you do go, I can't tell you to actually go there because of rules, but you know, there's certain places you can find it on the intro webs or something like that, I think it's called. But there is a list of approved and not approved or not preferred ammunition. Then there's a couple on there that are the do not. So I'll put that up for you guys to look at. In the meantime, I will go here to page 12 real quick. I can't do it backwards. I'm not that good. But I will go to page 12, and that is where this particular manual discusses ammunition. So we go here on number 2, ammunition, and it explains to use approved ammunition and blah, 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 but it does not give a list. It goes right to product description here, number 3. So I'm telling you, there's nothing here on page 12 that says anything about the approved ammunition. So I'm not going to spend too much time on ammunition, but all I'm going to say is this. If this thing has a prescribed type of ammunition that it is supposed to eat, and a list of ammunition it's not supposed to eat or it's dangerous to eat, that needs to be blaring out there in a bright pink piece of paper or something in this box. There needs to be more documentation of that, at least more direction on how to handle these ammo selections. People shouldn't have to figure this out. I mean, we have secondhand owners in the market that don't get some of this material, or they don't know how to look it up. People just do weird things, and you assume if something is chambered in 22 Magnum, it can probably eat 22 Magnum, not certain 22 Magnum. If it's not stated on the barrel that there's a restriction, I mean, shotguns have restrictions stated on the barrel sometimes, or allowances depending on the situation. But anyway, going back to the ammunition that we're going to be using today, I'm going to start over here with some defensive ammunitions. I'm going to skip over this Aguila. We're going to take that out of there for right now. We'll keep that towards the end. If we're going to ruin the gun, we'll ruin it towards the end. But we're going to do some, well, we'll keep that one on the edge too. That's another forbidden ammunition, the game point. We're going to start with Critical Defense 22 WMR. That is on the approved. They say it works good. We're going to move to some Gold Dot. They say that's approved. It works good. They say that anything that's a 40 grain CCI works well. These both are. Now, this is a 35 grain CCI, so we're going to move that one to the other back pile too. This is made for the A22 rifle by Savage. This is not made for this, so I guess no matter what, we're probably not supposed to run this through this, but we're going to try this towards the end anyway, along with the Aguila that it says don't run Aguila, but that'll be the very last, and then this VMAX that probably just won't reciprocate the slide. Now, I did notice inside this chamber, it is pretty heavily fluted. There are certain rifles out there that have fluted chambers, but I haven't seen one on a pistol, at least not that I can remember. So that is supposed to, I think, aid in extraction sometimes, but also people say that that could aid in dwell time keeping that thing in there, gripping the edge of the cylinder or the chamber a little bit to help stop it from prematurely ripping itself out. I don't know their intentions of doing it, but I do know this. After I cleaned the barrel, those grooves in there became more prevalent. So that is actually something to take into consideration, that as this gun gets dirtier, whether those grooves are a benefit or not for most of these ammunitions, as the gun gets dirtier, those grooves will fill in and not act as grippy or ungrippy, do whatever their job is supposed to do. I don't think it'll do it the same. So I'm sure someone knows exactly what those flutes are for and how they work, but I know that I'm sure something will change as the gun gets dirty. You'll probably have to clean it more than often or more than usual compared to other guns. I've seen this in different threads and whatnot, so I guess it's probably true. So let's go right back to where we were. Let's go back to shooting the steel target. We might get on paper eventually. We'll see how things go, but let's go through some approved ammunitions first and then go to the disapproved. All right, we're going to go right to CCI Maxi Mags. That is what people report, and Walther says is very good for this firearm. So if we have a problem with this, then we definitely know right off the rip there's not going to be a good chance for everything else. We have the Varmint and the Target load of this. They're both 40 grains, just one's a hollow point and one's a solid. The solid's going 1875, and so is the Varmint. First magazine will be Target, next one will be Varmint. All right, about 21 feet off that target. I did not change out the rear sights. We're still on the original high ones, so my point of aim, point of impact will not be perfect. I have one in there that did not go off, so I have a live grenade in my hand. Oh my God, guys. All right, so I did have a click, no bang. It did strike right there. I'm not waiting the 30 seconds. This thing might go at any moment, camera guy. Watch out, this thing could take us both out. But anyway, so we do have a light strike. I'll put it in towards the end of the magazine. We will get a new one in there right now. All right, it's empty. What? I dropped it in the snow, but I don't want you guys to think I'm screwing around. So there we go. There's that one back into the magazine. And God. Nope. So could just be ammunition. We'll get that one out of there. All right, so that one doesn't count against the gun. That one counts against the ammo. All right, varmint points now. So the hollow point bullets that we would shoot the critters with out of the garden. And what is going on now? All right, now we might not be able to blame that on CCI because that's kind of weird, coincidental, whatever you want to call it. Let's get this one out of here and examine things. I'm not waiting the amount of time, I know, but so we got the, be careful camera guy, you're getting awfully close. Oh my God. All right, so that does have a strike on it, just not a good strike. Can you get it, camera guy? You do see it? Yep. All right, the longer I hold it, the quicker I might die. All right, I will put that same round back in. It went off that time, but that did sound weird to me. I don't know what you thought about that, camera guy, but I thought it sounded weird. But let's try the rest of the magazine. All right, it ran the rest of those. So we're having some sort of an issue there. I would say probably with the gun, because that's just too quick, 2 different boxes of ammo. I'm going to pick the other one up off of the ground and see if I can get it to go. All right, it does have 2 strikes, but they are very close to the same place. So hopefully we get a strike in a different place this time. All right, it set it off that time, but again, it sounded weird. It almost felt like a hang fire to me. So, all right, there we go. All right, with Varmint and Target CCI out of the way, let's move on to some defensive ammunition. We have the Gold Dot and the Critical Defense in the according magazines. We'll start out with the Gold Dot. Second magazine will be Critical Defense. This is a 45 grain FTX in the Critical Defense, has the little polymer tip. And then this gold dot, let me look real quick. The gold dot is a 40 grain also. All right, gold dot going in. And hopefully we don't have any failures because this was reported by Walther themselves to be very good. A lot of flame, that's for sure. All right, those ran. So let's see if Hornady can keep up with their critical duty. Another one that was reported to work very well. That one does not have as much bang to it, but it's probably kind of like the rest of the critical defense or duty line. I might have said duty, but it's defense. It has the potential to probably drive a little bit deeper and not expand as much. We'll test it in some gel, but usually not as powerful as some of the other stuff, but still usually gets the job done. Anyway, let me shoot. All right, it ran all of those. Cool, we have success. And without that rear sight being adjusted yet, for the most part, I'm aiming here and landing in here. All right, let's go back to some Varmint stuff. Now, this stuff is not on the recommended list, but we're going to try it anyway because, like I said, people run whatever they find. This is made for the Savage A22 Magnum, but it is a game point round, so it's a soft point lead. It's 35 grains going at 2,100 feet per second. Over here, we have the VMAX. Now, that's the 30 grain stuff that's probably, supposedly, not going to cycle this thing very reliably. Hopefully, we don't have any more detonations out of battery, but I think the worst that's going to happen is we don't cycle. First up will be the CCI because that has the most chance to win, and then we'll move on to the Hornady. All right, CCI game point going in. Wish us luck. This one's not on the list either way. It's not, the 35 grain projectile itself isn't on the list, I don't think. Nice and boomy, big flash. Hopefully that doesn't bite us. All right, since that was designed for a rifle, I'm glad we survived that. All right, here we go with the 30 grain stuff that has less of a likelihood of working. It actually had a hard time chambering that round. That was a little sticky. You notice I can let it go. It's actually sticky chambering this round. So we'll see how that works out for the rest of the feeding. And yeah, it did not cycle properly. It didn't get the empty out. So there we go with not cycling all the way back. So that's exactly what people reported would probably happen. It did not put one in there. So it took one out, but it did not put a new one in. So not cycling is an acceptable kind of failure because it's not super dangerous. It's just not functioning. It is a malfunction of the gun. It's not a dangerous explosion outside of the gun. And yeah, no trigger. That's a little sticky to pull it out. So I'm sure it's a little sticky to put in. And I'm going to keep my other hand off to not interfere. Huh, maybe my hand was actually enough to slow the slide down. So keeping my hand off of it is possibly enough to let it function properly. Huh, very weird. I don't know, I'm pushing again. I'm pushing again with my thumb, so maybe not. That's weird how it wouldn't function in the beginning, but it would towards the end. Maybe that has something to do with the magazine? I don't know. All right, we are going to try the Aguila because it can be found everywhere. This was not recommended at all. They basically said, do not use this stuff. The reason I'm going to use it, like I said, it can be found everywhere. It's very plentiful. It's a 40 grain projectile, so it does fall in line with the grain weight that they want to be using, but for some reason, it's a no-go. Now, this one here is the semi-jacketed, so it's another lead exposed point, and it's supposedly a high velocity, but they don't say on the box what the velocity is. So I only have a few left. We're going to shoot 3 just to see if they cycle or if they explode out of battery. All right. We got to do 3, Walther. That's all we got to do is 3. 1, 2, 3. We survived those 3, so I'm not going to push it beyond that, but those 3 did work. And boy, is that stuff stinky. I don't know what kind of powder they use, but it stinks like crap. All right, deja vu, back to the scene of the kaboom. We're going to go back to what I was trying to show you when we had a problem, and that was a recoil difference between the 22 Magnum and the 22. This is a Taurus TX22. It's loaded with Winchester, pretty much bulk ammunition. We have the CCI mini mags back in here, the target variety, and I'm going to hold it with one hand. Let me make sure. Yep, got one in there. I'm going to hold it with one hand, and I'm going to hold it kind of relaxed just to show you there is a little bit of muzzle flip. There's a little bit of muzzle flip with 22 Magnum, but not terrible. Now here's the 22 long rifle. You can definitely hear a difference, at least I can. So it does rise up, but I would say the 22 Magnum beats it. People say 22s have no recoil. They do have recoil. Now you can grip down on them a little bit better if they want to function. You can bear down on them a little bit more, but even bearing down on it, it still has recoil. All right, she ran them, the approved and the unapproved. So round 2 of testing went okay today. I'll keep testing her. We're going to be doing other things with this firearm. Of course, we're going to keep our eye protection on, and we'll report back if we have any problems. On camera, you'll see it. Off camera, we'll just have to tell you about it, but probably it's going to be on camera. I do like the gun. I'm going to have to put the other sights in there so that we can get point of aim, point of impact. I don't like the trigger the bestest, but I think I can get used to it. For what I want it for which is just a fun semi-automatic 22 Magnum, possibly like a use it at the trap situation, not trap like in the air, but when you get critters in the trap or whatever we might use it for. I like it. I think it's cool. I want it to work. The other video, it just showed an unfortunate incident that hopefully doesn't repeat itself. Not trying to trash on Walther, just trying to show you the truth. These are my personal guns. I take this stuff seriously. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you at the next video. And until then, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting. Maybe a winter white gun in the winter white stuff.